Ooba-doo, oh, hurrah, ah.
Whoa. Get down, mama.
How long have you been standing there?
Oh, since the... You're good.
I must admit I do have soul. I used to, when I was in college, I used to sing with some of the girls in the dorm. You know, it was just me and whoever else didn't have a date. We used to sing into our hair blowers. Yeah.
Hair blowers?
Yeah.
What'd you call yourselves, the curlettes?
How did you know?
Hello. Welcome back to
Ayo. Oi.
the Who's the Boss podcast. I'm Tori,
I'm Kevin.
and we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss. Today's episode, we are covering Season 4, Episode 16. The title is Tony and the Dreamtones. It first aired on Tuesday, February 2nd, 1988. And the TV Guide summary says, when Tony's high school doo-wop group reunites, he recruits Angela as a Dreamtonette.
They never say that, or do they?
Yeah, the guys, maybe not in your version, but the guys
okay.
say something about the Dreamtonettes.
Oh, I see.
This episode was written by Karen Wengrod and Ken Cinnamon. I feel like we haven't seen those names in a while.
I know.
But they've written quite a few episodes, and they also, I believe, worked as executive producers
Okay.
at one point or another.
I got summaries.
Oh, right.
If you want them.
No, go for it.
I know you seem to try to always blow right by
I
us.
just, for some reason, I never remember your summaries.
That's okay. They're not memorable.
Go for it.
Tony rejoins high school doo-wop band, even though he clearly remembers the constant fighting with the other members. The heat soon returns when Tony wants to add Angela as a member of the band. Okay, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
right?
Similar to mine.
And the other one is Tony's Brooklyn High School is in danger of being closed for lack of funds. To help save it, Tony and the four mates revive their doo-wop band, Tony and the Dreamtones. The reason for their early split persists. Constant cocky bickering undermines musical close harmony. I'm not sure. Tony is ready to sacrifice his second chance of stage fame for anyhow untalented Angela's dream of such experience.
Aw, I mean,
I
she's
know.
not completely she can
Person.
carry a tune.
This person's vicious.
It's not the same person
Same one.
from before?
Yeah, they're back.
Oh, they're
they
back.
missed last week.
Oh, they didn't like that episode, I guess, at all.
Well, and they liked this one?
So I looked up doo-wop
Yeah.
just to get like a little bit of a history on it.
Oh, okay, good.
And it is a genre of rhythm and blues music originated among African-American youth in the 1940s, mainly in the large cities of the United States. So when this episode
right.
starts, there are some men singing outside of the house, and they're singing for Tony Micelli.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela comes into the living room, and she's looking around to see where it's coming from. She finally realizes it's the front door, and so she goes over and opens up the front door, and there are four men standing there. When I first watched this, I really thought that was the guy from My Two Dads.
Which one? The one in the upper right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
with the
it
beard
does
and
look like him.
But it's not.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so these guys are John Hostetter, and he looks familiar because he's been in quite a few things.
Is that the guy with the red hat?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe it's
'Cause
the
he looks familiar to
guy
me.
on the bottom right in the doorway.
Okay.
With the beige hat on. But he had quite a few acting credits, a lot of stuff in the 80s. And unfortunately, he passed away in 2016 at the age of 69.
Which one's this?
John Hostetter.
Oh, who plays Satch?
Satch, yes. Okay. Now, then there is Joey Malore, who plays Benny. There is Charles Gideon Davis, who plays Jimbo. And then Harvey Shield, who plays DJ. I know you're excited to hear this.
Yeah.
Tony and the Dreamtones will be back for another episode. But unfortunately, Joey Malone will not be with them.
Malore.
Sorry. He's the only Dreamtone that's only in this episode.
I wonder why. He moved on with his life.
So he was working in the art department of two other shows.
Oh,
so
Tales
it's
from the Dark
possible-
Side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe he couldn't.
Maybe it's possible he couldn't come back. And then I also noticed none of the other men's names, ages are listed except for Hostetter. And he was at least 8 years older, I think, than Tony Danza. But they supposedly went to high school together. But I feel like the casting call for this was like, you need to be able to sing and you need to not look as good as Tony Danza.
I was just about to say that, and then I held back thinking it was mean.
It is mean, but I feel like
you can't look nearly as good as Tony.
Right. And how come we've never met any of these guys before, even though we've
or heard of them? I never heard about Satch.
No. We've only heard about Pee-wee and...
Before we get too far involved, and maybe I missed it in the show, did they just show up and start singing? No one calls anything.
No. That's the other thing, too. So he hasn't seen these guys since high school.
Right.
Somehow they got in touch with someone.
Found the house.
Yeah, found out where Tony lives now. Drove to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And then just started singing outside the front door.
Not knowing if anybody was going to be home.
Now, for the 80s, that is a little more believable than it is these days. But yes, he probably could have...
You'd still call and be like, hey,
right.
We want to get the band back together.
So here's a question.
It's Satch.
Do you think Tony's not listed in the phone book since it's Angela's house? Like if you were to look
I bet
up...
you he has a split. He's listed.
You think?
Yes, I'm going with that.
Okay. I don't remember how phone books worked. But...
I think several people could register and put their
name
address, same address, same house.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like I did that when I first moved out.
Oh, right, because you had like roommates and stuff.
Yeah, roommates.
Okay. The four men ask if Tony Micelli is there. Hopefully they have the right house because they've just been singing outside of it.
I know. Get shot.
Not in the 80s. Maybe.
I guess not.
Yeah. So Angela calls for Tony and she's like, there are some men here calling your name. And he comes out. He's very excited. So he says, Jimbo, and then what is it? Jimbo, Benny, DJ,
Satch.
And Satch. Yes, I want you to meet the Dreamtones of Tony and the Dreamtones. So he's very excited to see these men. He gives them a big hug.
Yeah.
He says that they were the hottest doo-wop group to walk the halls of Pitkin Avenue High School. Or Pitkin...
How do they know that?
Because they were the only doo-wop group
that makes
to
sense.
walk the halls of Pitkin
sense.
Avenue High School, probably. So she says, I'm Angela Bauer, and they introduce themselves. They start singing Angela now to her. This episode, I feel like, is going to go quickly because there's so much singing that there's not a ton of dialogue in this. The men come in the house, and Angela's like, what? Oh, my, that's so Motown.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And Tony just kind of gives her a look like it's Angela being Angela. These guys are just kind of standing there. She says, you are all really great. You must have played every rally and every school dance. And Tony says, no, only the locker room showers. Then
time out.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Why were they singing in the locker room showers?
Because they're a doo-wop group. Yeah. They're all just standing there naked in the high school locker room showers.
Actually, I have probably a legitimate reason why. Because the acoustics were probably fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Because always in the shower.
Right. But yeah, they probably got beat up a lot.
I know.
In there singing while their men are showering.
Now, do you think that this goes with the Tony Micelli we've heard of from high school?
No,
this
not
goes
at all.
more with Tony Danza.
He would have been beating up all these.
Right.
He would have been beating up the doo-wops or the Dreamtones.
But I know that Tony Danza is a big. I haven't seen his show. I know that there are probably people listening to this podcast who have. And I don't know that it's necessarily doo-wop, but he does kind of almost
I know he sings and
show
stuff.
tune stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean.
But this is strictly a Tony Danza episode.
Yes.
They probably gave it to the writers and said, here's what is supposed to happen. Incorporate
Tony
the doo-wop
wants to
group.
sing.
Go.
Find us a doo-wop group. But then Angela gets to share the spotlight, too. Right. So Tony says, remember when they turned off the hot water? Yeah. And that was when they realized that one of them was a falsetto, but I don't remember who. And now my closed captioning has gone by. Oh, Benny.
Yeah.
Benny is a falsetto. So he has them come in. He's like, sit down. Oh, which guy is this? This is...
I know, it's hard to keep
it's hard to keep track of. Okay, so Benny... This is DJ.
Okay.
DJ says that the high school is going to be shut down, but there is a chance that they can save it. It's not up to code. So they're having a fundraiser. If they can raise enough money at this fundraiser, they'll be able to save their old high school. And Tony says when he finds out that the high school is going to be torn down, that Bobby Gouvernail is never going to graduate.
No, that's a dig on Bobby Gouvernail.
It is. And that is a real life friend of Tony Danza.
Oh.
Who will show up on this show at some point.
Ah, well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Hang on real quick. I know I
Yeah.
keep stopping us, but if somebody from my high school showed up and said they were closing down the high school, I would say that was a shame and just not help. I wouldn't go try help.
Yeah.
I mean, I live, very far away from my high school, 2,000 miles away,
I
but
know,
still.
But even still. Okay. Tony's like, okay, sure. Well, whatever I can do to help. And who's this guy now? This is Satch.
That's Satch.
Well, we need the Tony and the Dreamtones to do a couple of sets. And then Tony
For the
says...
fundraiser on Saturday night.
Right. Tony says, I'm going to miss that school. And but Angela's like, how can you not do this? And they're all saying, we're going to get top billing. We'll get to park in a teacher's spot. That's so funny because that's like
I know.
something that a kid would be excited about. Although the school's in Brooklyn. Do they have spots for anyone to park?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, too. It's always Angela that convinces Tony to do things. You got to do it. It's always you got to do it, and it always is a problem. You know what I mean? But I mean, she's like, you got to do it.
Right.
Like, why couldn't she leave well enough alone?
Because she probably just, I don't know, she just wants to see him sing.
No, I know. Well, you wouldn't have an episode.
And if it
just
was
saying, it's
Angela,
funny.
she would want to do it.
That's true. So she's living
Yeah, she's going to live vicariously through
Okay.
Tony.
That's fine.
But also, why doesn't Tony want to do it? Like, this seems right up. Tony has never been afraid to be in front of people or sing or be the center of attention. That's his dream. Tony says, remember, Angela, we have a dinner party that night. She says, no, we don't. He says, yes, we do. She says, no, we don't. And then he asks, can I see you in the kitchen, please?
Right.
So they go into the kitchen. Now, these four men who have not seen Tony since high school
Are left in the living room.
are left in the living room, but one of them says, are you sure they're not married?
Oh, yeah, right.
So they talked to someone who said that Tony lives with this lady. And then I'm sure at some point somebody was like making a joke about, that they seem married, or like, who does he live with? Is he married to her? Is he living with her? Like that kind of question. And so, of course, they appear to be a married couple in front of these four people who are virtually strangers.
Because they're arguing.
Right, because they're arguing like an old married couple. They've skipped all the fun stuff and gone straight to the arguing. In the kitchen, Angela says, how can you give up on a chance to sing for a good cause? And Tony now lets her in on the fact that back in high school, every time the Dreamtones got together and thought about performing, things went wrong. Everybody's ego got in the way. Right. When everyone was naked and vulnerable, it was fine. But once they wanted to perform, things went
pants
south.
on.
He says that Satch wanted Satch in the Dreamtones. Jimbo wanted Jimbo in the Dreamtones. Benny wanted, and she's like, I get it, Benny in the Dreamtones. And he says, no, Benny in the Ink Spots.
No, just the Ink Spots.
Oh.
There's Benny in the Dreamtones.
Okay, so that makes more sense to me. Because then he was like, Benny's got no ego at all.
Right.
Right,
he just wanted to be
He just wanted it to be the Ink Spots.
Right, because Jimbo wanted Jimbo in the Dreamtones.
Right, okay.
Benny wanted, and then she stops and she said Benny in the Dreamtones. He said, no, the Ink Spots.
Right, okay.
He just wanted to be the Ink Spots. And it comes up again later.
Yes, it does.
The Ink Spots.
But now I get it, because I thought he wanted Benny in the Ink Spots, and then he was saying Benny's got no ego, and I didn't understand that. But that makes way more sense for it to just
he didn't want his name in it.
Right, yeah. I like you, Benny. Okay, but of course, so Angela's like, well, how did you get them to go for Tony and the Dreamtones? So he's complaining that everybody else wanted their name to be at the front of the group name, but his name's at the front of the group name.
What's funny, there is a group called the Ink Spots.
Oh, and they have to be way before this.
1930s and 40s.
Okay, yeah. She says, well, how did you get them to go with Tony and the Dreamtones? And he says, Angela, you've heard me sing.
Okay.
He's like, it wasn't just the name. We argued over everything. And Angela says, it was a long time ago. People outgrow that type of pettiness. But Tony says, not me. And we know that. We know that about Tony. Angela's still trying to encourage him. Like, you can't let them ruin this night. Like, this would be a great time for you to get out there, be able to perform, and recapture something that you missed before then. And he's telling her that the last time they went to perform, they got into a big argument 5 minutes before the show because some of them wanted to roll the sleeves up and some of them didn't want to roll the sleeves up. That is a really dumb thing to be arguing about before you're going to go on stage.
Right.
And Tony never got to hear the applause or bask in the glory or have women try to rip his clothes off.
I know. It's a thing, I guess.
That's a thing if you were like Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to be and even then, you'd have to be some level of like celebrity for women to really try to. New Kids on the Block at the time.
Not Tony and the Dreamtones.
Right. Not this high school guy.
Not you going back and performing in a high school.
Right. A high school fundraiser. Okay. So Angela says, I'm sure if the Dreamtones communicate and are sensitive to each other's needs, then this will work out. And she says, I saw how your face lit up when she's like, when you went, whoa, because I guess he's saying part of whatever they were singing when he came in the door.
He did, yeah.
So she was saying, I saw how excited you were to be able to sing. So you really need to do this. And then she says, how many people do you know get a second chance at their moment of glory? Then Tony says, I do look good in shark skin. I don't know. I need to look up what shark skin is. I meant to do that.
Suit?
Yeah. Like, is it actual shark skin?
I don't know.
Because whatever they're wearing later does not look like it's shark skin. I found something. It says, shark skin is all to do with the fabric used for the suit.
Oh.
Most shark skin suits are usually made from mohair or wool and sometimes created with an acetate or rayon. It's a smooth fabric with two-tone woven appearance. So it
looks shiny,
right,
like a
it's
shark.
that shiny appearance like a shark. I got it. That makes much more sense
Nice
than
looking suit.
Killing a shark and making a suit out of it.
Yeah, much better. I mean, that's a lot of sharks. And they probably, it's probably frowned down upon.
Yeah, I think so.
To wear it, almost as bad as fur, or as bad.
So they cut to Tony and the guys rehearsing, and they're singing a song. I can't remember what the song was.
I don't know. Yeah. Guardian angels up above.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know.
So this is like just a little performance here that we get before the show, so we get some and I like how the furniture's all moved around in the living room.
Yeah, because they have got moves.
Yeah, they push the table back. Yeah, they're practicing their moves. The couch is off to the side, and if you look closely as they zoom out here when Angela's coming out, you see a microphone.
Oh,
now,
really?
Yes.
Like a set piece.
Well, see, I don't know. Either it's a microphone to pick up their singing, or it is Tony's microphone set up to record them. So it could be an actual prop or a mistake. I can't really tell.
Somebody leans down like they're stopping a tape recorder.
Okay, yeah,
I think the microphone's supposed to be there.
Okay, and they are recording because Angela's going to...
He goes down like he's stopping the tape player.
Okay, so that microphone is probably a prop then. So Angela comes out from her den that we still have never seen, season 4.
Yeah,
and they don't see her, but she sees them, and she's like kind of bebopping a little bit with them.
She's into it.
Yes, and then... she completely interrupts they're still in the middle of a song, and she just interrupts them, and she's like, you guys are sensational. I'm touched. I'm moved. I'm jazzed up. I know. It seems like Angela's a little bit turned on here.
I know. She likes it.
And then Tony's all bashful. Oh, come on, Angela. You're just saying that. And she's like, no, you guys are great. So she says, you really know how to bebop.
Okay.
And then Tony says, it's doo-wop.
Oh, right.
But Hatch. No, what's his name? Satch.
Hatch.
He's like, bebop, doo-wop. I like this lady because she's saying nice things about them.
Right.
They go back to practicing some more. They're singing. And she's
then he
there
hits record
watching.
again. There's the microphone and the radio.
So then so they start recording again in the middle. I guess they just want to hear how they're doing. Like they're not actually making a recording.
Right, and it wouldn't, it's not good for TV.
Tony's like, no more interruptions. So they go back to practicing, and then Sam walks in the door. Then he stops everyone, and the guys are like, what? I thought no more interruptions. He's like, well, one interruption for an incredibly beautiful daughter. So he introduces the guys to Samantha. So Samantha doesn't know these guys either. And Sam says, Dad, is this what music was before they had instruments?
Yeah. So instead of Tony traveling to Brooklyn, he makes 4 people travel to Connecticut to practice. That's funny.
That is a really good point. Now, maybe these guys don't live in Brooklyn anymore.
Maybe
they've all moved out of...
Oh, they all have to come to Connecticut.
And they all moved to Connecticut.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows?
So, Sam says, is this what music was before there were instruments?
That's pretty funny.
Angela, who now is armed with more information, says, it's doo-wop, Sam.
Right. Right.
And then she's like, oh, I love it. And Tony's like, okay, great. Well, then you and your friends are going to be enjoying it on Saturday night at the benefit. And then Samantha's like, oh, wait a minute. You mean you guys are going to do this in front of people I know? And she goes upstairs. And Tony's like, don't worry, guys. She's so excited. So they go back.
Everybody's got to go to the benefit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Except that Sam doesn't actually have any friends left except for Bonnie. And then Bonnie doesn't get invited to this benefit.
No.
Okay, so now some trouble starts. So while they're practicing, DJ stops them because Benny has bebopped when he was supposed to be boom-dooing. I don't even remember.
Well, you get an E for effort for that.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he was doing the wrong, So
you've been dapping when you're supposed to be boom-de-yaying.
Okay,
That's
you.
what it is.
Okay.
Sorry, I just read it.
And now Benny says, well, that's because you keep stepping on all of my bedaps or something like that.
Yeah.
And now they're arguing.
Yeah.
So
like old
which
times.
one's this guy? This is Jimbo. He starts arguing with Satch. And he says that Satch is singing through Vaseline. Not really sure what that means. Satch says, my wife likes the way I sing.
Singing through Vaseline.
My kids like the way I sing. I like the way I sing. So if you don't like it, tough noogies.
Noogies.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Well, it comes up again. You're going to hear it again in a minute.
And my dad used to say that a lot.
Somebody should look that up.
Yeah. I'm going to say that somebody is you.
Oh.
All right, so now the guys are all arguing again, and Angela understands what this is like. And Tony says, haven't we learned anything from past experiences? You know, we have to agree on stuff, and let's do one thing we can agree on. What kind of lunch do you want? So they all go into the kitchen, and Tony makes some lunch. Once the guys are in the kitchen, Tony's talking to Angela, and he's like, this communicating stuff is tough, Angela, but I'm telling you, I think it's going to be worth it. And he's saying that he cannot wait to get up on that stage again Saturday night, and he thanks her for talking him into it. What happened?
No, I'm sorry. I was laughing at what you're saying.
Angela says, well, you know, the Colonel had Elvis, and I have you. Besides, I know you've been waiting 18 years for women to tear your clothes off. Is Angela volunteering? And then Tony, I can't tell what Tony's look is. It's like, yeah, you're right. I have been. And then he kind of walks away. So later that night, Angela, who seems to have trouble sleeping a lot, goes into the kitchen. She's getting something out of the refrigerator. So it's at some point at night, but not too late because Tony comes in from somewhere. But she's wearing her bathrobe. She's getting some milk out of the refrigerator. She looks over at the tape player, and she just hits play.
Oh,
and
boy.
She starts listening to the guys singing. And then you can tell she wants to sing, but she's a little nervous. She doesn't want anyone to hear her. And then she just can't take it. So she starts singing along with the tape that's in the tape recorder. And right then, Tony walks in. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that you could sing. And he's like, you're good. And she's like, no, I'm not good.
No, I'm not done.
And then she says, well, I mean, I guess I have to admit that I do have soul.
Soul.
So she starts to tell him that when she was in college, I believe it was, some of the other girls who didn't have dates on the weekends would sing in their dorm room, and they would sing into their hair blow dryers. And then Tony says, what did you call yourselves? The Curlettes?
Pretty funny.
But that doesn't make sense because it's a blow dryer.
I know.
If they were singing into their curling irons, but I guess the blowettes sounds dirty, so they went with Curlettes.
The blowettes.
Okay, what did you find?
Tough noogies?
Yeah.
Well, it says, the only thing it says is it means I don't care about your problems. And then an example is, here's another report you need to complete before you leave. And then the other person says, but I have dinner plans. I was hoping to leave early. And then he or she says, well, tough noogies. But here's the thing. It says noogie. A noogie is an act of putting a person in a headlock and rubbing one's knuckles on the other person's head.
So
often a playful gesture of affection. So maybe that's like tough noogies. Is
right.
Really
And then I'm just going to rub my knuckles into your head.
I guess.
Okay.
So that's about all I can do. All I can get.
When Tony says, what did you call yourselves, the Curlettes? Angela says, how did you know?
Oh, yeah. So the stupid joke, but it really was a thing. Yeah. Okay.
And so she says, we dreamed of being on stage and we dreamed of having dates someday. And then Tony's like, oh, well, why don't you come up with us and do a couple of songs? And she's like, oh, I couldn't possibly. But he encourages her and she decides to go for it.
Yep.
But I like how Tony just offers for her to sing.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't talk to the guys about it. You would
He's
think
1/5 of a group, and he just made an executive decision.
Right.
But I guess
So-
he's the Tony and the Dreamtones.
Exactly. So I see that the guys are always arguing, but I also see that Tony really thinks he is the lead of this group.
Oh, yeah.
Even all these years later for this benefit. They cut to the next day where his sharkskin suit has arrived. So are we to believe that this is the same suit that they used to wear when they never performed in high school? Or did they get...
Buy a new sharkskin suit.
Because he says, I've been waiting a long time for this. Would you do the unzipping? And he's asking Mona to unzip the garment bag to show the suit. And Mona says, you've come to the right person.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Anytime she can unzip anything.
Right.
Now, this is a green sharkskin suit. And he is in love with it. He's hugging it.
Oh, he says, I haven't seen you in years. So we're supposed to believe they all fit into their high school sharkskin suit. I mean, Tony, I actually could believe it.
Right, Tony. But those other guys, I don't think that they fit into their...
Same sharkskin suits.
Yes. So, okay. So I guess he's had this somewhere in storage and then he
I
got
don't
it
know.
dry cleaned?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It was in the attic.
Mona opens the door and there are the Dreamtones. So she's like, oh, you must be the world famous Dreamtones. And they say, you must be the world famous Mona.
Yeah, everybody knows Mona.
Everybody knows Mona.
They've
She's like,
heard
I
her.
don't know about world, but I do have North and South America covered.
Oh, gosh, Mona, God, slow down. God.
All right. So then she says, don't doo-wop anything I wouldn't do. And then she leaves.
I see what she did there.
So the guys are here for another rehearsal. They've come from Brooklyn, I guess, or somewhere.
Yeah, they keep coming back to Tony's house.
Tony shows them the suit, and they're all excited also. I'm guessing that theirs are also at the dry cleaner still. Who knows? Or maybe he got new ones for them, and he's still wearing the old one. Okay, so now he says, I was thinking, if it wasn't for Angela, none of this would have happened. So I want to bring her up on the stage for a couple of songs to show their appreciation for her. But the guys say, wait a minute, this is Tony and the Dreamtones.
Yeah, time out.
This isn't Tony and the Dreamtonettes. They say this sounds like a nightmare. And he's like, no, I mean, she's pretty good. But they're not taking it.
Yeah, that is not a good...
Yeah.
The Dreamtones are not happy.
And it would have been nice if he would have consulted them before he offered it up to her.
Right.
I will say that.
Yeah.
But then these guys are kind of being dicks about not letting her sing a couple of songs.
Yeah.
So let's see. I don't know. Both ways.
It's a high school performance. Let's
really.
calm down.
Yeah. Let's just everyone simmer down. You're not like going on tour. She's not going to break up the band. All right, so they get angry enough that she does break up the band. So Tony says, all right, well, if you're not going to let Angela do a couple of songs, then you're not going to have me either.
Wow.
And they basically say, okay, and they leave.
Yep.
And that is the end of the Tony and the Dreamtones. And then Tony's trying to get Benny on his side, and Benny says, this is why we should have called it the Ink Spots.
Yeah, it really has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I guess if there was the Ink Spots, then they could let a girl in. Can a girl not be a Dreamtone?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it makes any sense.
It doesn't.
I'm
So
sticking with that.
they all just get angry and they leave. And then Angela comes out and realizes that all the guys are gone. She's like, I'm ready for practice. And he's like, oh, they left. And she realizes that they left because they don't want her to do a song. But he says, I told them if they don't want you, then they don't want me either. And she's like, no, I feel responsible for this now. And she says, why was I born with dancing feet and a golden voice?
Yeah.
Again,
I don't
Angela,
have any
let's
of
settle
this.
down. Okay, so Antenna TV cut this part out, right?
All of it.
Okay.
They go right to him talking to Mona on the couch.
Yeah, so this is kind of
It's a crucial
pivotal,
scene, yeah.
right? Because Angela sees how upset he is,
Right.
and that's what sets her plan into motion.
Yeah, that's why I'm like sitting here. I'm like confused, and
Yeah.
I remembered that that's not in the
So-
one I watched.
Tony's basically saying, we're just going to let it go. It's better now that we got into a fight than 5 minutes before the show. It's probably for the best. So then he says, if
Never
you don't-
mind saving the school. That's out the window.
Right.
This is all about the
Screw
Dreamtones.
All about
To
Tony
hell with
and
the
the
school.
Dreamtones, yeah. So he says to Angela, if you don't mind, I'd like to be alone with my suit for just a few minutes. So as she's going up the stairs, she sees that Tony is just sadly clutching the suit to his chest and he's singing one of the doo-wop songs.
See, this makes more sense to the rest of the episode.
Yeah,
to have this scene.
Right. You definitely need this scene to understand why Angela did what she did.
Yeah, I mean, I got it, but I'm like, well, I guess at some point,
right? But
Angela
it just
figured it out.
Right. It's just a thinner storyline without. But I know. I feel like these episodes are kind of sacrificed when they go up for syndication when they're cut for time.
It is what it is.
I mean, it is what it is. It's Who's the Boss. This is not literature that we're
That's true.
cutting into
Shakespeare.
here. But I also feel that if younger people are watching this show in reruns, they're not getting the whole episode, and then they're not really, because there are a lot of shows right now that are streaming, Friends, ER, and a lot of younger people are finding these shows because they're streaming in their entirety, and they've been bored during the pandemic. So like there are a lot of high school kids and stuff watching ER, which is a show that was on 20 years ago.
Oh yeah,
more than 20.
More than 20.
Yeah, started. So yeah, it would be nice if these were more like because in their original form, even though they're silly and it's a silly family show, they do tell more of a complete story when you get to have all of the parts.
Yeah, only makes sense.
Yeah. So she sees how sad he is, and she decides that she's going to do something about it.
That is the scene with Mona.
What?
Then he goes in the living room. Okay, that's what I have.
So the next scene then is Tony coming out into the living room. He says, I'm going to make a special dinner tonight. Everyone's getting their favorite dish. Mona says, mine lives in Greenwich.
I know. That's another dirty.
So wait, is she talking about Max Muldoon? Because Max is going to come back for another episode. But I wonder if they realized that Max was going to come back for another episode. Because we've had no mention of him, and Mona's just being Mona. And wasn't the episode in between where she was going to go have sex with all those people on the murder mystery cruise?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe they didn't realize that Max was going to come back for another episode. So they didn't really play this as if Mona was seriously dating someone.
Mona's busy.
So she says her favorite dish is in Greenwich. And then Tony says, I'm talking about something you could put hot fudge on. This is something that annoys me here, but it shouldn't. But I wish he would have said, I'm making something special for dessert. Or everyone's getting their favorite dessert, not dish.
Because he says dish, so fudge.
And then he says hot fudge. It's a dumb thing for me to be annoyed about.
Yeah,
but it annoys me every time.
You got to walk away from it.
And he says, I'm talking about something with hot fudge on it. She says, so am I. Mona's not letting it go.
No.
She wants this guy in Greenwich with hot fudge on him. Okay, so the doorbell rings. Tony opens it, and it's Satch. Not Hatch, which I keep saying, but Satch.
Hatch.
So he lets Satch in. And Tony says, there is absolutely nothing you can say to me to make up for what's happened. Satch says, Tony, we want you back. And then he's like, oh, thank goodness. And he starts crying into his shirt.
Thought you'd never ask.
Right. And then he says, wait a minute. What about Angela? And Satch says, she's in for 2 numbers. So he's very excited now.
Yeah.
Angela comes out and he says, Angela, get ready to start moving and shaking. You're going to be a Dreamtone. And she... She says, do re mi.
Oh,
I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. And then she does a little shimmy.
I know.
She really does.
Worked up.
Again, I think Angela's a little turned on here.
And then Tony's like, well, okay.
What is that brooch on her?
I don't know.
Jacket, too.
A lightning bolt or something?
The jacket is enormous, and the brooch is almost equally as large. Yeah, again, Tony gives her a look like, okay, so, and he tells her you're going to peak too soon. So she goes over to talk to Satch about it, and he says it's going to be a real blowout. Yep. 700 tickets, even the press is going to be there.
The press.
Mona says, oh, my baby's going to be up there in the spotlight. Or spotlight following your every move, and she says, I really hope that your skin clears up.
I know. Always got to get a dig in there.
I know. Okay, so we're going to find out that Angela's kind of set this up, but it's almost as if Mona's in on it, even though she's not.
Right.
Angela's like, wait a minute. I forgot that I never really got to the point of thinking that people were going to watch me do this. So now I'm a little nervous, and I don't think I can do this. Tony's like, of course you can. Like, what's the big deal? She says, well, what if I trip? Or what if a little bit of spit sprays out of the corner of my mouth? This reminds... Okay, so there was a recent interview with Judith Light. I think the guy's name is David Mixner. Anyway, she just did a quick interview with him, and he asked her, what was your most embarrassing moment? And I think he asked her if it was on a red carpet or something. And she said that it wasn't, but it was at the end of, it was like curtain call or something for a play she did.
Yeah.
That she was in a dress and she came out and fell flat on her face.
Oh, God.
I know. And she said 2 guys helped her up. But yeah, so that made me think of this because those moments are going to happen. And when you put yourself out there, and obviously a little spit spraying out of the corner of her mouth is not as bad as that. But I mean, she's a professional. She moved on. So she says, the lights pick up all sorts of things, and I just don't think that I can do this. So she's bowing out now. She says, well, what? He says, don't worry about it. You're just
the
going to sing.
Dreamtones will have to go on without me.
He says, you're just singing backup. She says, well, what if I faint? He says, fall backwards. She's like, no. I'm out. Tony's like, well, all right. I mean, okay. You made me completely break up my band for this, and now you're saying you don't even want to do it, but that's fine. Whatever. Tony and this guy leave to go rehearse. Now, how come now they're not rehearsing here?
I don't know. So they could have this scene here.
Right,
I don't know.
So. So then as they're walking out the door, Tony's like, what if I faint? And the guy says, fall backwards. So now Angela and Mona are alone. And Mona's like, what did you do? She
right,
knows
and this is where I
something's up.
realized what was going on.
Right, because you didn't see that
idea.
look on her face earlier. Right.
Why did she suddenly just bow out?
Right. She tells Mona that she made, because Mona's like, I know that you don't have stage fright. You performed a bunch of terrible things when you were a kid that I had to go to, and you had no fear at all. She says, well, I know Tony was so disappointed, so I went and told them that if they came back to Tony, that I wouldn't do the show. Mona says, nice work. But, I mean, Mona was all excited that she was going to get to perform.
Right.
Whatever. So Angela says, but I don't want Tony to find out, so you have to swear you're not going to say anything. And then Mona says, mother's honor. Okay. Mona has never kept a secret. And she has certainly never kept a secret for Angela.
And we'll find out.
Do you think that Angela almost wants Tony to find out? In some roundabout way?
I don't know. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's no reason that she would ever think that Mona's going to keep a secret.
Right.
Okay, so now we're to the night of the actual fundraiser. Tony's up there in his green sharkskin suit.
And they're performing Book of Love.
Yes, his hair's all slicked back. All their hair. Well, the guys who have hair.
Oh boy, it's a turning point in this episode.
I know. Is someone going to be killed?
I don't know.
That's our cat on the piano. All right. Ominous music. Stop.
And I'm next to the piano, which is probably why it's so loud.
Okay, so in the audience, Sam, Jonathan, Mona, and Angela are all watching. And Sam says, he's actually pretty good. I kind of feel bad now that I didn't invite Bonnie. And then Mona says to Angela, you haven't taken your eyes off of him all night long.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
As Angela's staring, and she's impressed.
And she says, you know what? It's just so nice to be able to see someone have their fantasies lived out. How many people get that? And Mona says, I do.
I know. Every day.
Of course.
All the time.
But also, we know Angela's probably watching Tony because she's also in love with him. Okay, so Tony and the Dreamtones are finishing up Book of Love on the stage. I love the little pose that they do at the end there, too.
What is that?
I have no idea. So they're going on a break, and he says, thank you very much. We're so happy to be here. He says, during the break, folks, let's keep coughing up the bucks because we want another generation of kids to try the meatloaf in this cafeteria.
I mean, kids already hate meatloaf. And can you imagine what the school meatloaf tastes like?
Probably so dry and awful.
Yeah.
All right, so they go off the stage, and down on the floor, Jonathan says to Angela, Mom, when I grow up, can I be a rock star? And Angela says, we'll talk about it later, sweetheart. That means no.
Well, don't just say no. Say yeah, because he's going to forget about it later.
But that's what we'll talk about it later always means. And he's like, oh, man, money, applause, and all the chicks you can handle.
Yeah.
Then Sam's like, Jonathan, women are not chicks. And some guy walks by, and she says, whoa, what a fox.
Oh, see. You feel like she's making a point, and then...
Yeah, she's trying.
And then it just falls apart.
So it shows that women can sometimes objectify men as much.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not
Yeah,
as
you
much,
said it better
but
than me.
also. Also, though, she's dating Jesse. So at first I thought, oh, well, maybe this is one of the episodes they shot earlier and then it was aired out of order, but it wasn't. So
Well, yeah, she's checking out a guy.
that's true. Yeah. Tony comes down and Angela says, Tony, you're doing great. You're a hit. And he says, oh, you probably say that to all of your rock and roll housekeepers. Then Sam is like, Dad, you're doing great. Just one thing, I wouldn't push your sleeves up so much.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but that was one of the fights they had back in the day. The group got into an argument about whether or not they should roll the sleeves up.
Oh,
And so I guess they brought that back as a callback. But
I see.
it's not very strong overall, so
No.
it's just kind of silly. And yeah, and then Tony's like, oh, she's right. There's nothing worse than showing too much arm.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
Right, I don't either. And Tony Micelli does not believe that. If he can show more arm,
He wants to get his clothes ripped off, for goodness sake.
exactly, he wants to show both arms and a chest.
Right.
All right, now Jonathan says, Mom, I'm thirsty. Of course, it's just
That's very little
very
kid thing
kid
to do.
thing. And she's like, oh, okay, great. We'll go. She says, Tony, how about an egg cream?
I don't know if
And
an
he
egg cream's
says,
a good thing if you're
Make it a-
thirsty. Like, it's probably good, but
yeah. What did my
if
mom
you're-
say it was again? It was
I
like
don't-
a soda and cream, I
if you're
think.
truly thirsty, I don't know if that's the way to go.
True. All right. But, I mean, when a kid says you're thirsty, that means you just want
No,
soda.
I know.
And Tony says, make it a double. I don't know if they really make double egg creams.
Double egg cream.
So now Angela and Jonathan are gone, and Tony and Mona are alone. And Mona's like, you're doing great. Is it everything you thought it would be? And he's like, oh, it's so much more. I'm in doo-wop heaven. Then a man walks by and shakes his hand to tell him he was great. And he's like, yeah, I am.
I know. What does that mean?
Because
That's not nice.
he's so cocky. I know. Mona says to him, you're not having any stage fright, are you? And he's like, oh, me? With stage fright?
Stage
No.
fright.
He's like, that's Angela's area. And then Mona's like, it's funny that you say that because she used to play that cello in front of hundreds of hostile people.
I know.
And she never got scared. So
Yeah, see,
Tony's like, what are you talking about?
You knew Mona was going to do it.
Right, of course. And he's like, are you saying she made it up? And she's like, oh, you're getting warm. And then Tony's like, well, if she doesn't have stage fright, then are you saying she set this whole thing up? And Mona says, it's really hot in here. So Tony puts together that at some point, Angela must have talked to the guys and got them to get back together with Tony and agreed to not sing.
Yep.
And then Angela comes up with his egg cream. Yeah, and Jonathan is having an egg cream. Jonathan's holding a water. Hang on. Jonathan's holding a water and 2 other egg creams.
Okay, so he got a water.
Yeah, so he
All
was legitimately thirsty.
Okay.
Okay, so Tony goes up to the guys and says, hey guys, I'm doing a solo, and goes to get on the stage. And they're
then
all
they get
like,
all bent out of shape.
yeah, like, what are you talking about? So he gets up on the stage and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I need help with this next song. And there's one special lady in the audience who can help me.
Well, then that's not a solo. It's a duet.
This is a good point.
He's wrong.
And so a bunch of girls start waving their
I know,
hands
it's
and
funny.
volunteering to go up. And he's like, no, I already know who it is. It's her right over there. And he points to Angela and he tells her to get up on the stage. So Angela realizes that Mona blabbed and she's like, mother. And then Mona's like, just go get up on the stage.
Right. Which is, I guess, why Mona did it.
Right.
Oh.
Yes, and I'm still not positive that Angela didn't realize this was going to happen. Not maybe consciously, but I think she probably knew that it was going to get back. Like, maybe she didn't expect this to happen, but I think she wanted it to get to Tony at some point that she had done this for him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And the guys say, hey, great communicator. This wasn't in the deal. And Tony says, tough noogies.
Yeah, tough noogies. There it is again. Tough noogies.
Okay, so now they're going to get up there. Oh, and he gives her his jacket to put on,
I
which is
know.
really cute. And they're going to get up there and they're going to sing a song that they have not rehearsed at all. And
Right.
Angela doesn't even know what song it is
No.
until he starts it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling if this wasn't a sitcom, this may not have gone so well.
Well, he says we're going to do Ramalama Ding Dong
Oh, he does say it right here?
before they
Okay.
start singing. He starts singing. it.
Okay. So then he starts the intro part, and he's waiting for her to come in, and she doesn't. And she's just kind of standing there with her hands on her face as if she possibly does have stage fright. I don't really know what the look is, because then he's like, okay, are we going to do this?
Right.
And then he tries it again, and then she comes in. So the 2 of them are singing for a bit, and the guys hear her, and they're like, oh, okay, she's not that bad.
All right, then they're suddenly on stage again.
Right. So then the one Hatch Satch. I know. Because I keep wanting to call him Snatch, and I know that's not his name.
That's awful.
I know. Satch is like, actually, she's not that bad. So then they say, well, if you can't beat him, join him. So they decide to get up on stage and start singing with him. So now all of them are up there singing a song that they have not rehearsed.
Nothing. Yeah. Wow.
But Angela looks super cute, and they're all kind of bebopping back and forth. And she even like knows how to do the little moves and stuff.
I know.
Hand
That's
motions.
sudden. That's amazing.
Right. And I love when they get to the ding dong part where everybody kind of looks at her and she's just like, ding dong. She's not really sure what to do. It's cute. Then they show the kids, and it's cute how Jonathan and Samantha are looking at each other like, yes, those are our parents up there.
Yeah.
But it is cute that at least Judith Light got to also share this Tony and the Dreamtones spotlight here. We've gone back and forth on this show with whether or not Angela can sing. Like when she's singing Kumbaya in the car, and it happened one summer, it's as if she can't sing. But Judith Light does a pretty good job, and we have heard her sing in other things.
Yeah.
There's the musical finale of Transparent, which my favorite.
Oh yeah, of course.
My favorite song is "Your Boundary Is My Trigger."
Yeah.
That touched me deeply. Okay, so then the song's over, and Angela's all like excited and hugging Tony, and super excited that she got to do this. He jumps down off the stage. Tony does, and he's no longer wearing his jacket because he gave it to Angela.
Right.
So he jumps down off the stage, and then he helps Angela down, and then immediately gets tackled by 5 women.
Who apparently someone's got a knife or some scissors because his
Edward
shirt is immediately
over
ripped.
here. Yeah. Mona and Angela are pushed out of the way, and they just grab him and start ripping at his shirt, and his whole shirt comes off.
And his dream is
he
come
says,
alive.
"It happened."
His fantasy has come alive.
And he just has this dreamy look on his face, and that is the end of the
That's
episode.
the end of the episode. My God.
So that had to have been some kind of shirt that was ripped.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
And then I hope they didn't have to do that more than one time, because they would have had to have more than one shirt unless it went back together.
He probably enjoyed it then.
All right, so that's the end of that episode. You go first with rating.
I do. I'm going to give this, it's got to be low. I don't know. I mean,
we're in a bit of a dip here. I mean, the last episode we really enjoyed. But
yeah, I'll give this a 6.
Okay.
And I mean, it just didn't go anywhere. And like, what? I mean, there was cute Tony and Angela stuff once again. Right. But overall, this felt like Tony went to the producers and said, "I want to be able to like sing." And stuff on an episode.
Right.
Good,
Can we make that happen?
So then they went to the writers and said, yes, incorporate doo-wop.
Right.
That's what Tony wants in this episode. Go, and then they wrote an episode based around Tony doo-wopping.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me.
I gave it a 6.5, which is like my standard meh episode.
Okay.
There were some cute parts, and I do like how Tony wanted Angela to be part of it. Why he really wanted her to be, I don't know. But
That's
it was
what
cute.
I'm saying. It just didn't, I don't know.
Yeah. But I agree. It was one of those that just kind of feels out of place because they want to have an episode where they sing, and so that's what they did.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And they do come back because those 4 guys
The Dreamtones?
The Dreamtones come back. I think in season 7 or possibly 8.
Oh my gosh.
It might be season 7.
It's just enough time for me to forget about them.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I had Angela as the boss in this episode because she sees that Tony's upset. Well, first she talks him into it. Then she sees that he's upset when the guys break up with him. So she goes and makes the deal. And then I think she tells Mona on purpose because she knows it's going to get back to Tony at some point.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, so Angela was the boss.
I know, I agree 100%. I thought the same thing, that Angela was the boss.
Yeah.
She saw enough to know that she needed to bow out for the Dreamtones to actually have a concert. Mm-hmm. And she went ahead and did it, Dreamtones shouldn't have gotten their way like that. No,
But
I'm just saying.
it was kind of a
they were
boss-
acting like kind of like babies about
Right.
it. I mean, it was a school concert.
I don't want a girl in our group for
Right.
2 songs.
Yeah, how did you 10?
But in their defense, Tony should have been like, "Hey, will you guys listen to
No,
her
of
sing?
course,
Because
he
I
should
think
have
she's
said,
pretty
"Hey,"
good, and
right,
I'd like
and
to
then
have
they
her in
all
a couple of songs."
Should have had a band meeting about it, not, "Hey, Angela, you sound pretty good. I'll talk to the guys." You
But
know?
it was kind of a boss move on his part when he realizes what she did and
Right.
that the guys made her do it or agreed to let her do it and then got her up on stage.
I
anyway.
agree with that.
But overall, Angela was the boss. Of this
Yes,
episode.
yes, I agree with that.
Okay, so you can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram, Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. Although, guys, I've been really bad with Twitter, so I don't even know if I should advertise that anymore. It's just hard to put clips on there, and I don't know.
Twitter's
Instagram,
it's weird.
Twitter's better to like insult people or
Right.
be
I think
insulted.
it's a
It's
cesspool
harder
of the
when you're
internet.
just trying to post cute videos of 80s TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our best work is on Instagram and Facebook, so we have the most conversation going. So the Facebook page is the Who's the Boss podcast page, or you can go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message. So the next episode we are going to do is called The Matriculator.
What is that?
This is the episode where Tony decides he's going back to college.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why I thought this happened a lot sooner than now, but it has taken a while for us to get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Tony's going back to college. All right.
Well, that's how you remember things, you know?
Yeah, it's weird because when I watch TV shows, sometimes storylines come in that I'm like, really? That happened so early? And this one, I'm like, really? That didn't happen until now? So it is funny how your brain remembers stuff or doesn't remember stuff. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give a big thumbs up and tell all your friends. And maybe you can tell your grandma, your mother, and your sister or brother. Maybe have no siblings. Tell your dog and cats. Bye.